Welcome to Roof to Curb, the foodie for the home, presented by Custom One Homes and Pulltab Sports, the best producer in the market. We've got special guest John King with us today. So we are live down at the Custom One Club at Xcel Arena, probably the most comfortable space that you frequent. Is that correct, John?
This is the cathedral inside the Xcel Energy Center. I'm very excited to turn the tables on you today and interview you in this hockey heaven you've built inside the X.
Yeah, it's kind of a special little, typically we're talking about all things home, and we're talking, from roof to curb and landscape and exteriors and home products and, all the fine products that go into a home building experience. But today, a little special pod and kind of bringing in some special guests and having some fun with it.
That's right. And I think in Minnesota, the best home sometimes is inside of a barn like this one. And so you ready to have the tables turned on you? You ready to be the guest?
I think so.
Do you feel out of control?
Yeah, I feel out of control. Maybe a little nervous, Jeff.
All right. Well, this is going to be all right.
Let's do it.
So for people listening at home or watching, we're sitting in the Custom One Club on the glass at the X. So imagine if you have seats in the front row. This is like Jimmy Jam, Terry Lewis type stuff back in the day. Not only are the seats different, they're leather with the Wild logo sewn on them. This is a place I've never been until today, the front row. And you get access into the Custom One Club, which is basically a bat cave for hockey fans. They got food, they got drink. Of course, it looks amazing because it's Custom One. And you can just tuck in here pregame, during game, if it's a bad game, and then post game, waiting for the lots to clear. So I want to go back to the beginning.
Sure.
How did you get involved with the Wild as a sponsor? Maybe it's on a golf course or who knows. And then how does it evolve into using your talents, your superpowers, basically building inside of the building?
Yeah. Rewind a year ago this time, we got a call from the Hockey Day Minnesota guys. And we ended up sponsoring Hockey Day Minnesota. Was in White Bear Lake.
Yep.
And we've got a friend named Nick Guzzo who
one of the best.
We both know, right? Good guy on the St. Paul side of town. And Nick had called with a gentleman named Mike Schwartz. Yep. Schwartz used to coach at Augsburg for a long time. And Mike had been involved a little bit with our charity. So those guys reached out and said, hey, we're trying to sell sponsorships. Funds are going to youth hockey at White Bear Lake, which I've got a lot of friends and families and kids that play there that I'm very comfortable with, and good long-term friends. So those guys reached out and said, hey, would you be willing to do something? Does Custom One want to do something? We said, yeah, let's do the Zamboni sponsor. And at that point, it was on TV, and the 18,000 people that show up to Hockey Day Minnesota, a wonderful event in the state of Minnesota. Love the energy and what that whole thing does for the state of Minnesota and high school hockey, and some college hockey teams play there. So a gentleman that you're familiar with, Matt Ferguson, right? So he sells for you guys, and he reached out and said, hey, I saw you on the Zamboni. You guys want to get involved with Pulltab? So we said, yeah, we've been wanting to do this podcast, Roof to Curb. So we'll start that process. Enter another guy that you guys know, Rob Bovee, right? So we got,
this is basically how the state of Minnesota, it's like the Minnesota Mafia.
It pretty much is.
Guz
right?
to Fergie to Tuesday night hockey to the Wild. It's like the puck just getting passed around the zone.
So I make a lot of jokes.
I thought it was going to be more complicated than that.
No, it's really not. So
that's the best.
So as I'm putting the threads together, I'm like, wait a minute now. I got three guys playing old man hockey sitting in a locker room joking about, hey, what's going on in your world? What's going on in your world? Pass me another Busch Light. Right?
They're all reaching into your pocket looking for your wallet.
So, and I'm like, all right, Rob calls, and I'll save the whole story with Rob for later. But Rob's a good guy, and he reached out and said, hey, we're looking for an uplift. We're looking for a change in the Custom One Club. We're trying to bring a better experience to our clients, the people that are on the glass. This is a place where people come, early. they eat, they have a full dinner, they might have a pop or two, might have a drink or two. A place to relax and really to get into the game, the spirit of Minnesota Wild hockey, right?
The before and after.
Yeah, for sure. And so Rob says, we have this opportunity. We know your company. We know what you're capable of. We know you have many different companies going. We know you have a home business, a remodeling company, a landscaping company, because we should talk about that as well. We just performed a landscaping job outside of Gate 1.
Really?
Yeah, we just redid some.
Wow, they're getting the whole experience.
Yeah, all the retaining walls out there. So we're looking forward to possibly making some changes on Gate 2 next year. So,
I did notice that you introduced you said Custom One Home sponsor. I like to refer to the brand as just Custom One.
Yes.
And put the verticals underneath it.
Yeah, without a doubt.
So I'll tell Maddie that you made that mistake.
Don't tell her.
We'll try to edit that out.
Exactly.
But so who was in here before?
So Audi was.
And we won't throw shade on them.
No,
they make nice cars.
Good company. I've owned one.
You make spaces.
Yep.
Okay, so they're looking to lift it.
Yep.
Does he bring you down here and kind of go?
No.
I mean, that's like
it started with a Zoom call, and Rob's probably got a really good story for that. That I think I've shared with you a little bit.
Zoom's always fun.
Yep. And he's like, "Oh boy, how's
Great
this
way
going
to
to work
meet
out?"
people.
Yeah. It's speed dating at its finest, right? And so we did the Zoom call. He goes, "This is kind of what I'm thinking," and there's no dollar figures attached, right? And there's really no structure. Just that we have a need. You provide a service. We like what you do. Would you?
Was
like
it
what
almost
we do?
like going to be barter maybe at the start? Like, hey, if you make this space nice,
I really didn't know,
Okay.
John. I
so
really
he's doing a great job.
Yeah, he kept it behind the curtain really well.
It's
right?
like a mechanic.
Yeah, he's like,
and then by the time he sends you the bill, there's nothing you can do anyway.
Come back for episode 2.
Yeah.
Right. So he did the trailer, the teaser. He did that all real well.
I like that though. He's playing it slow. Okay.
Yep. So we go back on and he says, "All right, this is kind of what we're thinking. I've looked at what you're trying to do and talk to me about your marketing efforts, where you're trying to go as a company." And he asked all the right questions. Rob did a great job of that. So at that point, then we're like, all right, well, let's look under the hood to your question of why don't we come down and look at the space? And it was really interesting from that standpoint because I walk into a meeting and there's like 20 people in the room. And I was not prepared for that.
Yeah.
I thought like me and Rob were just going for a little walk around the park.
You're on Craig Leopold, Bill Garrett, Carill's there. He doesn't understand.
Yeah.
That's
I'm like, I know that guy. No, but it was all their partners, right? So it was the Minnesota Wild stakeholders, the people that wanted the space done real well. And it was kind of an interview almost, right? Like, is this right? Is it not right?
Yeah.
Does it pass the smell test? Those kind of things.
Yeah.
And then it was people from Levy, right? So the food and beverage manager of the rink, and those guys do a wonderful job at Xcel Arena. And then it was also some of the partner conversations of, hey, these are partners inside of the Minnesota Wild. Would you entertain it? Would you work with some people, some collaboration, if you will? All right. Well, we like to kind of not play in the sandbox at times. We kind of like doing our own deal, right? And but it was phenomenal. So we worked with a company named Smart Press, and they help do all the wallpaper and vinyl and signage in the space.
And that's one of the things I love. So sitting in here, they've carried this motif of the kind of the wild. A lot of times when you're watching the intro for the team, they go to this kind of it's almost like, what's that Led Zeppelin song, The Land of Ice and Snow? They show this kind of forest scape, but it's clearly winter, and you really matched it, and it's done so subtly. It's very dark in here and moody, but then you've got those trees basically pull the wild into it without having to have a bunch of logos everywhere.
Yeah, so that design collaboration started with, well, what are you trying to accomplish? And if you remember the space prior, it was the cabiny, the woodsy,
light wood,
light woods.
Looking for, you'd expect to see a Pulltab box somewhere. Almost,
yeah,
which is weird for Audi, but
so that could be kind of weird. But it had a lot of tongue and groove to it, right? And there's some other things going on, but nothing that was really distinct or established that tied back into the brand or tied back into the experience is what I'd say. At times I felt like the space was a little stale in nature. To your point, maybe it could have a pull-tab box, could have some popcorn, peanuts on the ground.
Yeah.
Who knows, right?
Shells on the ground.
Yeah.
Well, and it probably, to be fair, it probably started a lot earlier, and that was kind of a motif of the Wild. It was very sort of Terrence Fogarty, skates warming by the the fire, and they outgrew that. And,
I don't disagree with that.
And now, this has mystique and mood to it.
Yeah. So we came in and we said, hey, what are you trying to do with your product, Minnesota Wild? What are you looking to do? What are you trying to create? We see dark and moody. We see a little mountain-esque, a little trees, a little up north feel to it.
And you need them to feel that too.
We did. And we were cautioned a couple times along the way of like, we got to have this checked out. We got to have this checked out. We got to have it checked out. And we're like, well, this design process could take a long time.
Yeah. Collaboration, everybody wants it. And when it works, it's amazing. And I know it worked here.
Yes.
But it's hard for it to work.
Yeah.
So that's great that you had partners at the Wild, some of which we're going to talk to today. But so there's a lot of trust there too, right? Because you're kind of in your corner and you come back. And so when you were sharing stuff, the Wild were vibing on it too and liking it, or were they nervous?
Rob was the only guy on the call when we started going to early stages. Then we had a meeting down here with a group of 20 again. I feel like it's 20. It's probably 4, but it felt like 75, right? And so I remember just about 4 feet from behind us here, I'm standing here and I'm kind of getting questioned, like, what are you going to do here? What are you going to do here? And I just kind of like, all right, let's just take over. All right, let's drive this.
You just stand up and you're like, well, you want to see it? We'll show it to you.
Have the pointer out, like, hey, now while we're doing this here, this there. And just kind of point out things. They had some functional needs that needed to change because they didn't think they were getting the best experience for the client with food service and how it worked from a flow standpoint.
Yep.
So they said, hey, can we do X, Y, and Z? I said, yep, let's do that. Let's add to it by doing this and this and this, a couple additional things to really help the flow of the space so that people could enjoy it more, right? Because in the end, they're really here to service their client and they're here to make it a wonderful experience for the season ticket holder. We wanted to make sure that that is what got accomplished. So I think we did that. We brought in some things that you mentioned, this trees and this dark, haze of the sky that's here. You see that in the pregame now for the Wild. You also see it around the LED, which is kind of cool. You're like, all right, it really flows and ties in. And then what we want to do is say, hey, you're going from this up north, dark, moody mountain out to the ice. So as you enter out to the arena, you see a little more white, a little more ice, a little more snow, kind of enjoying out to your seat with a beverage of choice and going on to cheer on the Minnesota Wild.
And you were really involved. I mean, I don't know if that's normally the case, but this was a passion project probably for you.
Yeah, it was a special project. Typically, we have project managers in our business that would manage those projects. It was something that I wanted to do. It's a special project for us in our company. I want to make sure it was, aligned to exactly what I had in mind. So we came into this space, I think we started about mid-August, and we were done by August. No, not August. We came in the middle of August, and we were done by October 10th. And if you remember, the home opener was October 12th.
Yeah, so that's good that it was October 10th.
Yeah.
So how many people work for Custom One?
We have about 22 employees.
So it must be awesome. I mean, to me, I know you've had many moments as a company. You do a lot for charity, but it's a sign of a company making moves, right? And so I'm imagining you can bring all of your employees in here and do events and have a special night. And
we just had all-out staff meeting about 30 days ago before Thanksgiving, and the Wild were kind enough to let Matt Minka come down and talk to our group of employees and kind of talk about the process, not only about the rink and what it means to the state of hockey, but what was the process of, remember we had a hockey team that left the state.
Yeah.
And he was able to talk a little bit about the journey of how we got it back.
Did he say Norm Green sucks?
He didn't.
That doesn't seem like a Matt Maka line.
We had one of those shirts that opened up and it had Norm sucks.
he would have made sure that he wouldn't have liked that. So I want to talk about a couple things. Let's start with the game experience, right? Because so I like to go to Herbie's before the game. Now I've never had access to a place like this, and
sure.
And then I'll go there after. I Uber. I want to do it right. Like if I'm going to a hockey game, I think you should approach it like a show, at the Ordway or
entertainment. Right?
Like let's go down there. Let's have a couple drinks. Eat. Let's wait for if we win. Let's go take it all in at Herbie's and watch Leopold find his corner table. And if we lose, let's just sit there and drown our sorrows and wait for the Uber. But
is that what they say? Is beer tastes better when you win?
it sure, everything tastes better when you win. There's no such thing as an ugly W.
That's right.
But so take me through a night. Like if I'm coming, I got the season tickets, front row on the glass, and maybe how would you play it?
Yeah, so the Custom One Club is built for the enjoyment and luxury, if you will, of the on the glass seat ticket holder, right?
Which is a whole different experience.
Yep.
I mean, watching a hockey game at that level, I mean, the speed, the size, the snow
Power,
spraying
strength,
into the face getting pushed against the
contact.
glass, so.
Absolutely. You realize how quick. I'd throw you this tidbit, John. You realize how quick of a transition game it is, right? Like especially taking out that center line,
and it's 3D. Everything's sauce.
It's great.
Well, it's funny when I would always tell parents. So if you stand up on the concourse watching your kid play, I would encourage you to go down to the glass, sit with all the dads with their chew spits right on the corner, and just watch them play down there.
Yeah,
and you'll realize they're a lot better than you, and they're a lot better than you think.
Yeah, they're a little faster down there.
Everything just comes into perspective down there.
Yeah. So the experience itself, you're going to be able to come into the space hour and a half early. So you're going to come down. You're going to have a full dinner. There's great food, great presentation.
5:30 arrival.
Yep, 7:00 game, 5:30 arrival. Come down, grab a pop, grab a beer, grab some wine. Whatever wets your whistle.
It's like a carving station. We got Levy just crushing the food.
Yeah, they got some of that. They've got a snack bar. They've got the pyramid of hot dogs, right?
Well, no, you called it the pyramid of wieners.
It is
earlier,
the pyramid of wieners.
So now they stack the wieners. Now this could be a whole nother pod.
It's very Aztecian.
So are they? It's like
Mayan.
what you would call it a Lincoln log of wiener sort of situation.
Yeah, it's a lot of beef.
Now, when you pull one of the wieners out, is it like Jenga? Do you have to think about?
I haven't seen anybody attempt that.
So I'm coming tonight. You gave me passes
just to see.
When we recorded this, the Wild are about to start their resurgence, beating teams in the West. They play St. Louis tonight. Mark our words, hammer the Wild tonight. In the past, you'll see if I was right or wrong. But I'm gonna check out the Wiener Pyramid.
Do it.
And so you come in. You watch warm-ups, right?
You have access. The doors are open to the club out to the arena. You're, 20 feet from the rink right now. Fun experience. You're on the glass, hearing pucks. You're dodging pucks a little bit from the noise and the speed of the puck. You go back in. You're with your group, maybe with your significant, whoever you're with. You grab another cocktail. It's going to be a great night. And then you go and they flood the rink. They get ready for pregame. You get in your seat. And then once the first period's over, you come back in. And
you tuck in.
You tuck in, try to get another cocktail, and enjoy beer, check out on the game, maybe some stats, maybe get a little hungry after that. Maybe you want to grab some gummy bears.
Yeah, we'll probably put them in your pocket.
Some M&Ms.
Keep them warm.
Whatever, some popcorn. There's always the big bucket of popcorn.
I'm not afraid of the popcorn M&M mix as well.
Oh, it's one of the best.
Right.
One of the best.
Pro move.
Yeah.
So you come in and then now post game, you're also open a little later.
Yeah, well, we're missing a step though.
Okay,
so between the second and third period, dessert.
Okay, of course.
Right? You got to have a little dessert, right? Kind of winding down the night. Like I said, it's like the show. Well,
what's the Wiener Pyramid of dessert? What's your go-to? First star.
I would tell you that the Sunday bar is exceptional. And I'm a big fan of the apple cobbler.
Okay. Don't sleep on the apple cobbler.
No, and it's warm. They always throw the vanilla ice cream with it.
Are you concerned the Custom One Club makes our fans too soft? I mean, we got apple cobbler.
No, but
it feels pretty like lush. Like I might get gout just listening to this episode.
The Custom One Club at times does make vanilla ice cream soft though.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
But let it melt a little bit.
Yeah, it's a little melty.
Okay, so then you go back in, you got a belly full of vanilla.
Yep.
You watch the Wild win.
Yeah.
3 stars of the game. Somebody's throwing a stick to a kid. And then you tuck back in here and you wait for the lots to
clear
empty.
Out. You got to let those parking lots and ramps kind of empty. You don't want to be stuck in a car for a half hour, right? If you don't have to be.
I mean, this is some Bruce Wayne stuff.
Yeah. There's a little tidbit. You might see a NHL player walk by here or there.
So the away team
could be a little starstruck, yeah.
They exit right by the club. So
Not
if
too
you're
far
watching
away.
Connor Bedard on Sunday against the
Yep.
Blackhawks, you might see the young man stroll by. I love that. It's like
Or a Logan Cooley might have just walked by that hall. Yeah.
Big fan. Yeah. So I love spaces like this where, like, whether it's the Sky Club at the airport. I haven't done the Legends in the Twin Stadium, but I've done the first base and the third base, those nooks that they've created. Which are great. It just makes you feel different. It's like we're not a part of the riffraff. You know, we got our places. Yeah. It's a little quieter. There's a lot of people
less lines for the bathroom, less lines for beverages. I would tell you this too. It at times has a little Cheers feel to it, right?
Because you're going to know the people.
It's the Norm and Cliff Clavin, right? Nomenclature. And the staff that has been in the Custom One Club have been here for a long time.
This is a great segue.
Right? So great segue to some amazing people, right? The servers, the bartenders, they've been here for a long time. They haven't been here just for a couple of weeks and they're trying to figure it out. So as people...
It's like a country club.
It does have some of that feel. So there's times where, you know, the drink is already at the table and your drink's not empty, right?
They know what you want.
It's the all-inclusive in Mexico where you're working with a guy that's been there for a week, you know?
The omelet bar guy, he knows what you want. So let's talk about bartender Mike.
Yeah.
So listeners, I'd like to apologize. We wanted to get bartender Mike on the pod. Turns out he hasn't had media training, which is exactly why we wanted him to be on the pod. But this guy's been tending bar in the club since it started, and then predates it back to Bloomington and the old Thunderbird Hotel days. Yeah. A living legend, Mike from Levy. You got to tell me, you got to share the how he threw out the story to you just in passing about one of our favorite wrestlers.
Yeah, for sure. So, you know, I was not a frequenter of the club prior to Custom One Club.
Yeah.
You know, I had normal seats and.
Had you been in the Audi Club?
I had.
Okay.
Yep.
But not a lot.
In fact, last year, came down the game with a friend and supplier of business for us, and we got to enjoy and had a good time. And someone that I know real well, and we actually traveled together. And a great guy.
But not enough to know Mike by sight necessarily.
By no means.
Okay.
A frequenter of the space.
The icon.
Yeah. So we come down preseason, and the space wasn't completed at that time because it wasn't ready till October 10th, home opener October 12th, preseason games in September. We're across the hallway, a little auxiliary space, black curtain in the Custom One Club because they still had to get out to the ice, right?
Yeah.
And meet this gentleman. He's the bartender. I'm like, I'm going to introduce myself. I want to see how this goes. So we talk and chat, and he tells me a little bit about what's coming up in the space. He doesn't know my involvement with Custom One, so it was pretty fun. And but wonderful man. And
well, tell me that exchange because I love it when you're saying who's doing it?
Yeah, so I kind of
you bait him a little bit,
right? Put him in the box a little bit, and I said, Mike, nice to meet you, but who's going on? What's going on? Tell me the story.
You're trying to steer him down the wrong road.
You never know. Right?
A little chaotic.
Yeah, it's kind of a mess over there. Those guys, I don't know if it's going to get done in time.
They're wearing those booties.
Yeah, and so he tells the story of like, it's not done yet, but it's going to be done. And I can tell you one thing: if it's done by Custom One, the finishes are going to be amazing. And I'm like, if I could bottle that.
At which point you put him in a bear hug.
Yeah,
he's Uncle first star of the game.
Uncle Mike, he's over at my house for Thanksgiving.
He actually has a season ticket to the Custom One Club. And then you get a little nugget from him about he's not with us anymore, but a legend of his own.
Yeah, so that nugget actually happens during the regular season. So we come in. I think it might have been home opener night. So we're in here with Mr. Minka. Minnesota Wild CEO, ribbon cutting. They do a champagne toast. Just a wonderful event. And I would tell you this too, John. And I'll definitely land the plane here. But the Minnesota Wild staff has been amazing. Levy's staff has been amazing to work with. And prior to the home opener, the day before, we did a ceremony for all the Wild employees because we wanted them to come in the space and enjoy it and be able to talk about, obviously, and just have pride in.
So right? White glove treatment from the Wild.
Without a doubt. So fast forward, home opener, we're in here talking to Mike. We start recognizing faces because he's like, hey, that's that guy that talked to me before. we're in here between periods. We might have stayed in here a little bit longer than we should have. Didn't watch the game. And we started talking to Mike, and I said,
We
Mike.
won, by the way.
Yeah.
I was there.
Yep. And I said, Mike, like, how long you been here? What's your story? You know, and he tells me where he's been and what he's done. And I'm like, wow, like we're going back to Met Stadium.
Yeah, he's an OG.
Met Center, Minnesota Kicks.
Of course.
Like we've got it all
Pele
covered.
maybe played on the Kicks, didn't he?
I think so for a brief time, yeah. But we're talking North Star hockey and we're talking Vikings, and I'm like, I love the stories, right? So Mike, give me a story. He goes, all right, I got a deal. I'm bartending one night, Bloomington, Met Center, must have been a WrestleMania, maybe.
Oh God,
I don't know if it was like WrestleMania 125 or
it was.
It was a big event, right? And
single digits.
And they had a mammoth of a man, your favorite, Andre the Giant, come into the bar.
I feel like
And
I should just
and he tells the story of Andre having a couple cocktails.
Couple.
You know, imagine the guy having the 32-ounce handle of beer that looks like a thimble, you know, in his hand. So Mike's been great. I've talked to him quite a few times. Like, he does a great job servicing people in this club. And
so give me a visual on Mike. So people that come to the custom one, what
Mike's,
does he look like? How do I know him?
Mike's an older gentleman, gray hair. He's got a mustache. He's got glasses. Typically sits on the right side of the bar, tapping beers for people, serving them.
Glasses or no?
Yep,
Okay.
glasses.
Glasses and a stash.
Maybe 5'10" in height.
Look for Mike.
Very, very welcoming gentleman. Always asking, what can I get for you?
And he's not media trained, so you're going to have a wonderful time. Yeah. We love you, Mike. Wish you were here.
Yeah. Part of the experience.
So when the upstairs versus the downstairs, I'm just curious. Different things happening up on this balcony versus down low. How do you think? Because I just think it's really interesting to think through a space like this, because it isn't a home, but you still have to make the same choices. So what was your vision up here? Because the seating's different, soft seating, and then you got kind of the high tops down here.
Yeah. So a little more loungy up top, probably maybe more for the people that are digging in, get a little more comfortable. Maybe they're good with one plate, one cocktail, and if you want to get closer to the action, you got to be down the main level.
Yep.
So it's your loft overlooking great views of interaction and people watching. Larger groups probably fit better up there.
Yep.
Smaller groups fit better down here, 4-person tables. But, you know, you're an arm length away from a couple more gummy bears or M&Ms, right?
That's good. So I want to just finish with, and we can get to anything else you want to cover too, but what kind of hockey fan are you? Because I'm just like, you know, when you go to a game, so I watch the game.
Yep.
And I have to. Even if I'm in a suite, I'm like one of the losers sitting down in the chairs the whole time. I'm Shazamming songs and warm up. Now, I've been to hundreds and hundreds of hockey games, but I always watch them. What are you like? You know, you get there early. Like, what's your vibe?
Yeah, maybe a little background. I've played, I've coached, owned a hockey program as well in the past that we built and sold. That was a hockey development program for 220 kids, and I've got 2 kids that are still playing the game. One in college, and one is a senior captain for Eastridge High School, Davis. So he's kicking off his season tonight, which is great. So I've been to a
Hammer Eastridge against Egan today. Let's do a Wild and a Eastridge parlay.
And Davis for +2 points.
Yeah, +2, and a plus 3. Plus minus and 2 points.
There you go. So I've watched a lot of hockey, been in a lot of rinks, been behind a lot of windshields, bringing kids around, which I've greatly enjoyed all of it. I'm a hockey fan through and through. I love the sport. I love what it brings. I love what it teaches youth. I love what it teaches people. I love the locker room setting of just the grouping of people and the community that it builds. But as a true hockey fan, like, I love watching it, right? Like, I can't get enough of it. There's times where I might go to one high school game and go to a junior game and then have to, you know, run somewhere else. And then we go to the Wild game or a Gopher game or, you know, whatever it might be. So I could watch a lot of hockey in a day and be real satisfied. So, but I'm not afraid to socialize at the game either, you know?
And so as a project for you, you know, it's funny. I remember when people were first putting logos into video games, you know, so these kids would be gaming all day and they would see the Coca-Cola in the background of the, and that's in the virtual world. But here you are, state of hockey, the highest level, the Cathedral, the X, and now you've built this space. And think of all these season ticket holders and clients of yours and prospects, and they're all going to come in here and have a different experience because of what you built. I mean, it has to be a different sort of project for you personally.
Yeah, there's no doubt it's different. We take great pride in what we do. It's hard. It's hard work meeting expectations, and really a lot of them that are unspoken, right, with clients. So it has some challenges with it, but we work really hard to try to solve that. We're a very compassionate and passionate group that you can't be if there's no way if you work inside this industry, you have to have those traits, right?
It's a living thing. I heard you say that on another podcast of yours. A house is living.
Yep.
So if you don't have that EQ and empathy and connectiveness, you just can't build the right space.
Yeah, and you just can't work with people that way. So as a project, though, it's prideful, John. It's really prideful. One is that we have a premier professional sports team in our market that trusted us and put faith in us of getting something done and getting something done in
without much time.
With not much time. And
shotgun start.
Yeah, there's some struggles there of we got to get going here, right? We need some ink on paper kind of deal. What are we doing? And but we got it all done, and the space turned out great, and we got to come and watch people's face and reaction into the new space, which is pretty enjoyable. But yeah, it's huge. I love the cloth of the sport. I love what it means to the state of Minnesota. I love what the Minnesota Wild bring to our community. And a lot of people don't know, but there's a huge charity component of the Minnesota Wild, right? And the golf tournaments and some of these other events, the cooking with the Wild, and
the whiskey event that Felino does.
Used to be the bowling tournament, right?
Yep.
And but they've done just a wonderful impact to the community, and it aligns to what Custom One does, right? We're just not trying to go build kitchens or homes. We want to be deeper into the community, and that's why we have the charity component.
A shared passion for hockey and community. That seems to be what you all sat around the table with, even with those 20 people who you still don't know who any of them were probably. Yeah. But I want to finish this because this pod normally, foodie for the home. I mean, I've been editing some of your stuff lately because we did such a good job
because it
for a
needs
while.
Edits?
Yeah,
is that what you're saying?
No, it was because we were on fire with you at the beginning. But I mean, I want to get into a couple nitty gritty things. Okay, so tell me 3 I'm talking builder nerd stuff that if some of your regular listeners listening to Zipwall and Black Windows and Pella and Cambria, if you came in here in your peer group of builders, what are you proud of? What would you point them to and go, you see that? We thought about doing this and we changed it to this.
Yeah, I think the bar, right?
Yep.
The way we designed the bar, we changed.
Looking at it right now.
We changed all the stone out. Prior to us taking over, stone was not in front of that bar.
What kind of stone is that?
So it's just a stack stone, more of a El Dorado, but it's great. We worked with our stone partner on that. He did a great job installing it. The way we laid out signage, we changed all the lighting in here. Not the can lighting, but we did change all the lighting. And I think the lighting choice was spot on. It gives a little whimsical feel to it.
These little wiggle lights are cool by the trees. It almost looks like lightning striking.
Yeah. So it kind of adds to the element of that. The LED lighting that we attached didn't exist before. It was just a white rope light that was there. So now these lights that are in here now, and you see them in multiple spaces, and it lights up the whole loft area, if you will, the lounge area upstairs. You can change that to any color you want, RGB lighting.
Okay.
That's great.
Green right now.
The radio network sign that is behind you that has the game clock on it.
So you know when to go back in.
You know when that's attached to the white. Do
you guys do stat sheets in here like the media members?
I haven't seen those in here.
You should ask them to do that.
Yeah,
like
sure.
They would just throw them right there, and it's kind of fun. You come in and it's a shot chart, and like you're in your own little world.
So the radio network sign that's in here was off the old radio booth.
Okay, so you kept some of the history there.
Yep. So we wanted to have that. The opening into the dining kitchen area has been widened. But I think comprehensively between the lighting, the selections and smart press with what they did with the wallpaper design and the vinyl design in the signage, it's tied in extremely well. And I don't want to leave out Cambria. So Cambria,
that countertop there, the bar,
and all the tables.
Okay.
Cambria, proud Minnesota company, great product that they make. A very good partner, not only of ours, but the Minnesota Wild. They've done a great job too.
Anything you didn't get to do that you wanted to? Was there any sacred cow left on the table where you're like,
my first
I wanted a
suggestion,
claw machine.
Yeah, I want
Miss
a claw
Pac-Man,
machine.
sit down.
And I want to spit out gobstoppers. But
you do have Whoppers.
We do.
We should get into that. The malted milk ball, you can only get
2 places.
An oversized malted milk ball here and at the Bud Light Lounge. Is that right?
The Loge, yep. That's
no
the
free
only
ads.
2 places I've had them.
All right.
But the
what was the
Whopper is a
one?
special place.
What was the one that got away?
I wanted to do a bar upstairs.
Oh, a double bar.
I wanted a double bar.
Double decker.
Yeah. So they weren't real sure they could staff it.
Yeah. Plus the staircases.
Yeah.
It seems like you might do a Gone with the Wind.
Yeah.
Only really gone.
Could you imagine a big horseshoe bar overlooking and then opening up?
You know what the biggest problem would be? No one would watch the game.
Yeah.
You just have a bunch of people here having no idea.
Be a rough 10 minutes left.
It'd be like, let's go to Custom One tonight. And they're not even talking about the game.
Are the Wild playing?
Yeah, somewhere in it's a bar with a hockey rink attached to it.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to hear from some of your partners at the Wild next, but I just think I love this story, and I'll just finish this section with too often partners don't celebrate the romance of like what you're building, So even hearing that story of Mako with the champagne toast and just giving something its due. Like, hey, we brought these guys in. We didn't know them from a fly on the wall. They were 3 guys played hockey together somewhere. I don't even know. They didn't have any time. Because I remember asking Rob, I'm like,
badness, isn't it?
Yeah, and the hip, it alternates.
Yeah.
But I said, Rob, I'd like to get some of this time lapse footage and mess with it. And he was like, man, they haven't even started yet. And I'm thinking, you're not even going to have time lapse. The time lapse is going to be like the day you had to build the thing. So it's amazing what that timeline. I mean, it's really beautiful in here, and I'd encourage any hockey fan to find a way into the Custom One Club. And we're going to now be joined by the folks from the Wild, and I think this shared love of hockey and community is going to come through.
Roof to Curb is sponsored by Will Anderson Insurance. I want you to try a quick exercise for me. Think of your insurance person. Okay. Can you picture them? It's probably some person from high school or the old neighborhood that you no longer keep in touch with. Insurance is too important for the status quo. Isn't it time you switch to one of the best? Will Anderson can help you with all of your home, auto, and commercial insurance needs. He'll give you a fair solution. He'll be there to pick up the phone when you need him most, and he'll explain a complicated business like he's reading a children's book. Reach out to Will Anderson, and we bet you he'll save money too. Call or text Will for a quote at 612-361-7283 or visit willandersonagency.com.
All right, so we promised this was a special episode, and we're doing this tapas style. We're going to roll through some of the people behind this collaboration on the Custom One Club. We're joined by Carin Anderson, VP Corporate Partnerships. There's an extra part after that, but I kind of like the sound. It's cleaner with just Senior VP Corporate Partnerships. Really, you've been here since the beginning with the Wild, and you've seen it all. So what's your perspective of this company coming in, transforming this place in really a couple months? You might not. You did know each other, which we'll get into. But talk about this this collaboration you've had with Custom One and the club.
Sure. No, it's been great. And to your point about how quickly it came together was also such a big benefit for us to finally find like a brand that is so relatable to what this club and experience is all about, and to be able to put it together, and then for them to be able to then put their own work into it just makes it even more authentic and quick. So we were very fortunate that it all came together and as quickly as it did, and these guys went pedal to pavement really quick.
And is that a thing, you're really saying somebody who gets it, right? I mean, so when you have, that's got to be a luxury when someone's doing something like this, a lot of eyes on it, high test. I mean, to have somebody that is going to get it right and understands hockey. How often does that happen? I mean, is that the norm, or is that just a real bonus?
Right. I would say that was a bonus, and probably, kudos to Todd and his team for being able to see the vision that that Rob and our team put out there as soon as we did, to then quickly kind of grab that and then take it and then execute on it in such a high and elevated way that we need for the experience in this space, given the investment from our fans for this space. So I would say it's more exception than the rule. And it's not that other partners and brands can't figure it out quickly, but this one was really special, and it was just one of those things that really clicked quickly.
Was there any barter involved with East Ridge and White Bear Lake? Were you like, hey,
I let the cat out of the bag a little bit.
Were you like,
no, we went there service level. But
were you like, hey, we'll lay down for the away game?
Well, we need the parlay to hit.
Okay.
We had
need the parlay.
We had a couple good
got
East Ridge, White Bear Lake tilts back when our kids were the
there's
same
a couple
age.
more coming up, right?
Mine are done with hockey.
Yeah.
But
So what's your hockey connection from? One of the things I just love about working here, because our business is the same way, is just this interconnectedness through arenas and rinks and kids. And so you guys, what's your hockey connection?
You want to tell it?
Well, sure. From what I remember, and you correct me anything wrong. My oldest son Eli,
02 birth year.
02 birth year.
That's what
yes,
you
that's
refer to
probably
him
that's how it is.
No, you say he's an 02.
He's an 02. Went with his sons. It's 02 as well. No, 03.
Blake was an 03.
03.
Yep.
And then another friend of ours, Mike Smith, and Mike and Todd. You guys were the coaches, right?
We own the program.
Or you owned
And
the
then
program,
we
sorry.
coached, we coached the 03s and
Yeah.
Another fine White Bear family, Pete Road.
Yeah.
Right? Coached the 02s.
Yes.
Legend.
Yes.
So Leighton played on that a little bit.
Yeah. Was Leighton playing back then?
He played a little bit, yeah.
So anyways, my son had the opportunity to play with Steel Dogs for a couple summers, I believe, and then played with Mike Smith's kiddo and Leighton Road and all those
White
guys.
Bear.
And so all the White Bear
Steel
stuff.
Dogs? Is that what
Yeah,
you
it's
call
called
it?
Steel
So
Dogs.
I
yeah.
just saw
now,
that.
did you name this? Is this what is a steel dog?
Yeah, it was a big bulldog, right?
I should have
Okay.
brought it. I
Yeah,
just saw the jersey yesterday.
That's some OG
Like I was putting
stuff.
some stuff away, and I saw the Steel
Good
Dogs
logo?
jersey.
Strong?
Great logo.
Awesome.
Okay.
Great
Had the
colors
bulldog
too.
with breaking the stick in its mouth, right?
Is it a real thing, a steel dog, or is it a fictitious animal?
Well, I think it's fictitious, but it became real.
Yeah.
So it's okay. It's all the things you know about a dog, but with the strength of steel.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Little grit, little
Man,
jam.
you should be the marketing guy. That's great. So, hey,
Next
what
life,
do you now that you're sitting in the club and it's been open, and
Yep.
what do you love about it? Just as a hockey fan, as a someone who, what are you proud of, and what's special about it?
Yeah. You're asking me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I think I love how it lightened up the space, right? And makes it provide a bigger ambiance. And then just the level of execution makes it feel like you are in an elevated space that matches perhaps the investment that you are paying for that opportunity to be in this club, right? So like the finishes are fantastic, the lighting, and just the overall ambiance fits our brand, but also it looks contemporary and up to date.
I had never seen the front row seats. I did not realize there were literally your butt is going to feel different if you're in the front
Yeah.
row. I mean, those are nice with the leather and the logo on there and everything. And what about this? I love this tie-in. What was the company called that did the wallpaper?
Smart Press.
Smart Press. I mean, it's amazing
great
how
job.
they
Yeah.
just kind of dialed the wild into this. And I mean, what would you tell fans, Carin, about this experience, this elevated experience, as a season ticket holder on the glass, even just watching a game on the glass?
Right. Well, I think I would say just like the experience is truly unique when you get that chance to watch it in the first row and to see the size and speed of the game is amazing. And then to be able to then come and gather as a member of this club that sees it the same way that the rest of the building sees it is pretty special. And to do it in a way where you're like feeling more special and more unique is awesome. But yeah,
that game does feel better. It feels better, different, faster, stronger. We talked about earlier, right? Snow on the glass. You see the contact. You see how fast things transition.
Erickson X teeth.
Yeah, it's a little blood on the ice maybe, but it's a special ticket. It's a special experience as a fan, no doubt about it.
Last one for you, Todd. Just what the collaboration. When we first sat down today, I think even before the recording had started, you just said this has been a collaboration.
Yeah.
So what did you like working with the Wild, and how did they finish sentences with you?
Yeah, without a doubt. And I'll use the word easy, right? Easy, not meaning simple or lazy, but easy from a standpoint of a very welcoming feeling, a very collaborative feeling. And also, we're an official partner of, right? We're just not somebody that throws a logo on to sponsor something, but we feel like we're much more part of the cloth now, right? We've dove in, we've moved wood and
yes,
bricks
literally,
right? So it's been fun that way. But from top to bottom, right? We go from the CEO to Carin to Mr. Carin to Rob Bovee to Maria, right? I mean, all the people that we've interacted with have been amazing. It was really important to us before the fans saw the club was that staff saw it, right? So they had an annual staff meeting, I believe, right?
Yep.
Preseason
In the fall,
a couple games just before it opened up, and it was important for us to put some cupcakes out and have people enjoy it and see it firsthand and get a feel for it, so they can go tell their friends about it and say, hey, you got to buy one of these tickets that get a great experience with.
I love it. Well, hey, thanks for coming out. I am going to be in the club tonight. I did want you to be aware. And
security.
So if anybody
John is in the club.
If anybody throws a can or whatever,
what do people throw in the customer club?
Yeah, it's probably not anything that I'll get my hands on. I didn't know this world existed, but I found a back door through Todd. So thanks for coming out with
Absolutely.
us today.
Thank
Carin.
you.
Roof to Curb podcast, sponsored by Duke Cannon. Don't trust your mutton chops and mustaches to just any brand. Duke Cannon Supply Company makes hardworking grooming products for hardworking guys, and their products will help you keep your facial hair in championship form. From their beard wash and balms to beard oil, they have your back and your face covered. Duke Cannon. Work harder. Smell better. Stock up on DukeCannon.com and use BEARD10 for 10% off your next order. Duke Cannon is an official partner of the Minnesota Wild.
All right, this is basically like a tour through the Mount Rushmore of the Minnesota Wild. All the OGs are here at the Roof to Curb pod. Maria Troje, Senior VP Sales and Service. So you're basically the you run all the ticket sales for the Wild.
I do. Yeah.
You're the ace of spades.
Yeah, I guess our responsibility is to make sure the building's full every night. No pressure.
No pressure. So how many? I'm just going to start with something a little loose.
Okay.
How much does your phone? Because I'll get asked for tickets, and I'm like a couple rungs away from the Wild, but sort of around them. And I'll get the most ridiculous thing is when someone says, I literally had someone say, I have a friend in Sweden that I used to teach with. He's asking me, he's my friend, and then he wants me to ask the Wild for tickets, and then back to me, back to him, back to this person in Sweden I've never met. I basically had to draw him a drawing and said, this is how tickets work.
Yeah.
And so how much shenanigans do you see as the top ticket person? How often do you get your phone just loaded up playoff time?
Yeah, all the time. I mean, we were just in Sweden and everybody had a friend over there who wanted to be in the game.
I can't even imagine. And so you just learn how to say no? Really?
Yeah, you have to be good at delicately saying no, right? How do you say no without really saying no or making somebody feel bad, or just maneuvering and everything. Like, I don't know, we're never really sold out. We can usually take care of people if we really need to, but you do have to say no every once in a while, especially on those big games. Friday was a big game.
I think it's all about the rungs. There has to be an emotional connection between, if it's a couple layers away, that's a no-go.
Yeah, for sure. Hopefully they're not making it to me
Yeah,
if they're a couple of rungs away. I have.
That's exactly right. That person should know not to ask the next person. They got to break the chain if it's too far away.
You got to know the right people, right?
So these on the glass seats, I've been to a lot of games here. I have to admit, I didn't know there was this Bat Cave world of amazingness in the front row. I didn't know that you had these cushy seats and before and after food and dessert and everything. So can you just talk about the on the glass experience, including the new Custom One Club, but like, how do you sell it? What do you tell hockey fans about it? What's unique about it?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're the best seats in the house, right? The experience you get on the glass is like nothing else. You can hear all the sounds on the ice. You can hear the players and what they're saying, right? They feel so big. So we really sell the experience that you get out there on the ice. But then you have this awesome Bat Cave down here that nobody knows about, that's super exclusive, that people want to get into, right? They want to have dinner with their clients or their colleagues or their family and friends before the game, and they want to show people that they get to come down here through this little tunnel after the game and hang out with everybody. So it's like, how is it high touch, but you get this awesome experience out to watch the game too.
It's really special. So I got the passes from Todd for tonight. I'm not going to tell the people I'm with.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go up to the elevator by section 2 and then, what are we doing? Just come here. I got to go. And then boom into this. I mean, it's cool.
It is.
I know Bat Cave's a weird way to describe it, but it's this little secret place, kind of like the first time you went into the Sky Club at the airport and you're like, hey, there's a better way to do this travel thing. Come in here. I just think it's awesome. What was it like for you working with Custom One and kind of seeing a new person step up to elevate this place? And
yeah, I think it was really exciting when Rob approached us and said they had this great opportunity with Todd and Custom One. I was super excited. Anything we can do to elevate the experience for our fans, especially these fans who sit on the glass and have this great investment with us, and knowing what their brand is all about and how well it matched our brand, it was super exciting to see how they were going to transform the space, and then to see it come to life. It's been awesome.
This is one for both of you.
It's fun.
What have you heard from, because you must have heard from season ticket holders that now have been in both clubs. You, I'm sure, have heard some feedback. You've probably anecdotally heard some stuff. What are you guys hearing about the change? Because you invested in them and they get this new experience. So what have you been hearing so far? We're only 19, 20 games into the year.
Well, my phone was buzzing right away, right? So I had the opportunity to be down here on opening night, and it was a wonderful night, fun celebration, breaking the ice, right, popping the corks.
Get the W.
Got the W, big night. And it was fun. So I actually had somebody who's a season ticket holder for many years on the glass come up to me and thank me. And I'm like, I should be thanking you, I think. Like, who, you thanking me? I'm thanking you.
It's like Spider-Man.
Yeah, what are we doing here, right? But he's like, no, it was like the space was time, and like it feels different. It feels elevated. We enjoy it, and thanks for doing it. And
that's great.
I didn't have anything Custom One on. I didn't know the gentleman, but it was nice. And then as the brand is being broadcast inside of the Wild organization and inside of Xcel Arena, the phone's always blown up. I think some people think we bought all the on the glass seats, so that's kind of interesting. They're like, hey, I'll take 2 in section 108 and I'll take 2 over it. I'm like, timeout.
Yeah. No, I don't have the bowl.
Yeah, no,
secured.
Like, no, that's not what transpired. Timeout, so, but it's.
What about you?
Good.
What have you been hearing?
Yeah, people love it. They were so excited when we got to reveal it on opening night. And they do feel like we made an investment, that Custom One made an investment to transform their experience here. And the space feels bigger. It just is super elevated from all the finishings that they put in. They can feel that there's a difference when they come in here, and they're excited to bring people down here. It was dated. It needed a change, and people just feel different and excited about coming here. So we hear it. We get phone calls. We get emails thanking us too. And kudos to Todd and his team for transforming it in such a short period of time, so we could open it on opening night.
Yeah, it was fun.
I want to ask you one hockey nerd question.
Oh boy.
Okay, so take playoffs out.
Yeah.
What's the hardest ticket? Think seasonality, what's the one that when somebody asks you, maybe it's a good friend of yours, you're like, oh man, if you only knew. What's the hottest ticket, or maybe one that's a surprise or something that
Might
it
be
is?
coming up.
Yeah, I think this coming up Chicago game on Sunday, December 3rd is going to be
boy wonder.
Yeah, people want to see Connor Bedard. This past Friday, the day after Thanksgiving, is always a huge game for us because people have family and friends. It's like, doesn't matter who we play, they just want to be here and in the building on that day. And then in the spring, if we're on a playoff hunt or run, like, people want to be here for the push, right? But I think any weekend game, Saturday night, this is a place to be. So
Seems like the Jets travel pretty well.
They do.
Yeah. They'll spill beer on you.
Yeah, they like to cheer loud, so it gets our fans revved up a little bit, right? It brings out the non-Minnesotan in us.
That is pretty fun. Well, and you do a nice job with the holidays. There's always, like, I remember for years it was Detroit, kind of New Year's. You always have those games sprinkled in on the holidays, which is great when everybody's around. Well, thank you so much for joining us and for building this team for many years. So thank you. All right, this is a wild hat trick. I didn't even ask you your title, but I'll make something up.
Yeah, make it sound good.
So Rob Bovee, what is your official title?
Account Executive of Corporate Partnerships.
Account Executive of Corporate Partnerships. None of that senior VP stuff getting in the way. That's good.
Karen, I feel like they should maybe invest in some acronyms, right? A lot of words.
Yeah, like SVCP.
If you guys can send an email that I can forward on, that would be perfect. Yeah.
We'll come up with something.
So this is your bottom six forward. He's the guy in the corners getting the puck out,
mucking it up. Yep.
From Ham and Egger, from Hockey Day, Minnesota to, you're the guy that started connecting some dots here. So what's your recollection of how this? I did hear Todd's version of the story earlier. The listener can compare and contrast. But how did we go from a Zamboni with a logo on it less than a year ago to sitting in a new Custom One club?
Yeah, so I think that's kind of my day-to-day grind is finding the right people to connect the brand to the Minnesota Wild, right? And we're selling that passion for the team and connecting that brand to the team. So Custom One had done some stuff for Hockey Day Minnesota, and us sales guys are vultures. So when we see it, we pounce. We pounce, and I'm sure Todd can speak to that after the Minnesota Wild partnership got announced. I'm sure there was plenty of other teams reaching out and trying to hop in on that. So it's just, it's reaching out and trying to find the things that make sense, and then from there setting up calls and kind of at that point it's just learning, like, what is your brand, who's your customer, what makes the most sense for you, and
what was your initial impression of Todd? And I understand there was a Zoom call at the beginning of this.
Yeah.
What's your
we set up the old Zoom call and hopped on, and I think there was maybe 5 minutes into it. I think Todd, I could kind of see him checking his phone, and then we talk a little bit more, and then I kind of see him look at his phone again. I'm like, oh, this is not going well. This guy could care less about anything
We're never making it to dinner. It was just the one drink, and I'm out of here.
Yeah, it was definitely that. So like any amazing sales guy, I tried to reel this guy in and get him back on the hook here, and just kind of so we kind of talked, and all of a sudden was like, all right, this guy's a hockey dad, so let's talk hockey. So I think we ended up talking the connections. That's where we ended up to kind of finding some connections, and then we talked. I had coached Mounds View High School hockey, and he sent his kids to the private school at Totino, so that's obviously a big rivalry, and where Mounds View loses all of our stuff. So we had to give him some trash about sending those kids over to the private school, and I think once that kind of the relationship started to take shape,
it makes it easier, doesn't it?
Exactly.
What were you looking at on the Zoom? You can turn your camera off.
Yeah, no, I'm not a camera off guy. Like I think you get what you get.
I see why.
Yeah, so like cameras on. It's we were trying to negotiate.
That's the moneymaker.
You're like, hey.
No, that's not where I was going. It's more of a negotiation. Like, maybe he doesn't think I'm interested.
Oh,
Right?
okay.
Yeah.
So you're
playing coy.
Yeah. Hey, he did give you a compliment, Rob, and for all the salespeople listening.
You're really.
He said
swimmer.
you didn't. There's the number, what it cost was sort of nowhere to be found in the early stages. So he was allowed to sort of just dream about what it was going to be without having a sticker
how
on it.
cheap I thought it was going to
Yeah,
be.
exactly. But, so you actually played that quite well. So that's great. You've been boots on the ground. This is a collaboration story. Two companies with a shared passion for hockey and community, building something to last. What's your some of the high marks for you going through the journey with these guys? I mean, quick timeline. It's unbelievable. I was asking you for time-lapse video, and you're like, well, they haven't started. I'm like, holy cow, what do you mean they haven't started? So what are some of the things you'll remember from the start of this partnership?
So, Rob, one of the stories we talked about earlier was the meeting in the space.
Yep.
Right, with a group of, I thought it was 300, of course.
Yeah.
But
he claims 20 people
20
were sitting here.
20
He
or
doesn't know who
300.
any of them were, but
Yeah.
those are just seat fillers, right?
No, I think
Actors.
yeah, how many do you really?
Yeah, I think even like just the Custom One Club in general, I think it was like the last, we were literally saying our goodbyes on our Zoom call. And I was like, hey, I got this random idea for you. So we have kind of explained the Custom One Club and just kind of, it would be cool to kind of set it up and have it be your own like personal parade of homes. So every game you were showing off what you could do from a renovation side, from a home building side. So kind of take this and run with it and make it your space to kind of show off what you guys do. And really just finding those ticket holders that are, in his demographic of these are fancy houses that we're building. These are high buck tickets that,
These are
that
people
people are
with
in.
big pantries and outdoor pizza ovens. Like
With
this,
all
With
the
that
fun
beautiful
stuff.
landscaping.
the fun stuff.
this is the good
So,
stuff.
so finding the right asset, and this is a space that we've pitched to many different places and it's always been, it was the Audi Quattro Club. We've tried different luxury cars. We've tried luxury alcohol brands. We've tried many different things. But we've also had people that have called and asked about it that we wouldn't do because it wasn't on brand for what this space was. And so this is a space that was kind of near and dear to us. So it's knowing that kind of we could trust Custom One to take it and run with it and make it a beautiful space and a spot for our fans was a big part of the whole conversation. So like I said, the last 5 minutes of the conversation, I just kind of threw it out there, and I think it was like throw that in there. And
well, it's so different than just having a luxury brand logo slap. Is so different than an interior company doing a redesign.
Yeah, it's not a dasher. It's not a
it's
sign on a screen.
It's what you do.
Yeah.
In this world of hockey.
Right.
And no, I think do you get a pass all the time down here? What kind of grandfathered situation do you have?
I do sneak in here every once in a while, and whenever I'm at a game as a fan, I will try and sneak in if I can, take that little pass and wave it around and pretend like I'm a big deal, like Wayne's World.
I like that.
Coming in with the
well, I'll check it out tonight. Any closing thoughts, anything we didn't ask you?
No, I think it's been a fun partnership to work on and kind of see it take shape and go from Grandpa's basement to this beautiful new space and kind of this. It's just so much more modern and a great spot for our fans, and it's been fun to work with.
I think we both thought. I think challenge me on this, but I think we both thought there'd be more gates to get through.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So when we were going through design and creation and execution, I thought there'd be way more start and stops.
Red tape.
Yeah. And there really wasn't.
And it worked out, I think, from a timing perspective. I mean, the Xcel Energy Center is 23 years old now, so it was due for a facelift. So I think a lot of people were excited for Custom One to come in and take this space and kind of take it off of our list of things to do, because it was like Marie had said, it was a space that needed to be revamped and was kind of due for a facelift. And so for a brand like Custom One to come in and take it over and really take that off our list, I think a lot of the people who would have been blocking and hey, wait, what's your idea for that? Are like, hey, take it and run. You guys are, go for it. Yeah, get it off my hands.
Well, hey, thanks for being here, and thanks for the listeners. I think we know this was different and also I think special to tell this story, whether you work for Custom One, you're a hockey fan, or you're a foodie for the home. I mean, it's a story of collaboration, community, and a shared love of hockey, and just how important a space can actually be. Because it's alive and you made it a lot better. So I'm excited to check it out tonight. And thanks for everybody from the Wild for coming on down and doing this together. And Todd, thanks for letting me flip the script on you for at least one episode.
Been fun.
And thanks for
John.
the passes.
Yeah, absolutely.
See you guys.
Come and enjoy it.
Bye.
Thanks.